guys, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. So yes, it's the end of March. Man, this month was so busy but went so fast. Thank you guys to everyone who came and hung out with us at Ghouls Night Out last weekend. It was awesome. I really appreciate all your support. And of course, this month I also have my live stream, so thank you again everyone who came because that was also awesome. I'm gonna get straight into it, as I normally say, because these videos are long and I wanna make them as condensed as possible. So this is my Letterboxd. I'm going through my diary. My name on Letterboxd is Spooky Astronaut. And if you follow me, I promise to follow you back. On the 2nd of March, I watched Saw 4. Didn't think that was great. But once again, I'm doing this review on all of the Saws. I'm slowly collecting them and slowly collecting my reviews, so you guys will see that. On the 5th of March, I watched the Greasy Strangler, and I did do a review on that, so I'll leave that down below, the link to that. And then I watched Society, and Society is a film that some of you guys were asking me to watch on my live stream. I found it very interesting. I actually did a review for the Patreons. I do recommend it to all of the 80s buffs who haven't seen it. Obviously, if you're an 80s buff, you probably have. But the weird thing about it is it's kind of marketed as a horror comedy, and I don't think it is that at all. So keep that in mind. After that, I watched The Possession of David O'Reilly, and I did a review on that down below. And after that, I watched Don't Knock Twice, which I've also left a review for down below. That one just came out on Monday. From here, I have a couple of movies that I watched at the Horror for the Homeless event that I went to. I have a review kind of video of how that went down below. If you don't know about it, check out the video, it explains it all. But I watched The XX, which I was not impressed with. I rewatched Scream, which I love. I rewatched The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I love. So after those ones, I watched Doctor Strange, and of course this isn't horror. I have to say, I gave this 2 stars, but hear me out. I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I just think, my personal taste, not for me. Action and fantasy, not things I like, and that's all this film is about. So I would recommend it to anyone who likes action and fantasy and fighting, but I'm not that person. After that, I watched the documentary Beware the Slenderman that one of you guys recommended to me. Fuck, I really recommend this one, just because the afterthought of it was so much better than the actual film, but the events that it talks about the stabbing of those girls in America. I'm sure you guys know all about it. It happened several years ago, but it is, as I say, stabbings, the ambulance. Weird. The film is kind of all over the place, and the documentary is kind of a little bit all over the place, but it does have some really solid facts. And what I actually really found helpful about this is Dino, if you guys know Dino from the Late Late Horror Show or Paranormal Into the Night, he did a podcast on this, and I'll try and link it down below. Just some afterthoughts of him and Ted on what they thought after watching the documentary, and I found it really helpful to kind of purge all my thoughts out while listening to other people saying what I thought and having a conversation about it. Really liked that. It's obviously more of a true crime documentary than actually about Slenderman, but they do have some really interesting guests on it, and I would totally recommend it. After that, I watched The Love Witch. I'm not even gonna talk about that right now because you guys wait, and I'm gonna do something a little bit special for you, so keep an eye out for that. But I have to say my favorite movie I've watched this year. That's all I wanna say. Next, I watched The Girl on the Train, just because I had this weird curiosity about this film. I know everyone read the book and everyone thought it was really bad, the movie. And I just really liked the idea of it, but I felt like the idea in the trailer, because I didn't read the book, was sold completely wrong. But not that it was bad. I really liked the movie. I thought it was good. Dean watched it with me, we both thought it was good. We both thought it was missing a little bit of something, but I thought it was really fucking good. It is about a woman whose life has fallen apart after her husband has left her, and she kind of has to go through and put these pieces of a puzzle back together and figure out what happened to her on one mysterious night. It's really great. I thought the characters were really well casted. I don't know, I just really liked it, and I know a lot of people who are book lovers are gonna torture me for that, but I really enjoyed it. Next, I watched Nerve. Oh my god, I was so depressed. I was actually gonna do a review for you guys, but I thought it's probably too far gone. A lot of people have done Nerve reviews. I don't really have anything extra to say, just that I thought it was kind of not very good. I was so let down. The editing and everything at the start was great. I don't know, it wasn't as teeny boppy as I thought it was gonna be, but then I kind of molded into exactly what I thought it was gonna be. And I thought that the ending wasn't as epic as I thought it would be. I know that I was assuming a lot of things about this film and I only realized that after I saw it, but I felt like the trailer made it look really, really dramatic and it wasn't so much so. But I watched it. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. I've given it a 2.5, but looking back, I don't know if it even really deserves that. But film I watched next, The Devil's Candy. Guys, I'm gonna save this one because there's a review coming out next Monday. I know, I hate me too, but this fucking film is phenomenal and I want to talk to you guys about it in more detail. All I want to say is just go fucking watch it. It's amazing. Then after that, I watched another documentary, which was The Family. This is about a cult from Australia. It's a very interesting story, but the way it was put together in this documentary was very disjointed, I didn't think it was put together very well. It didn't really give you any of the facts about the cult that you really wanted to know. And the thing about knowing anything about true crime is you need to know those steps. Those are the steps, like, especially with cults, like you want to know what they believe in, how they recruited people, some real details that were completely lost. And it wasn't really about the cult that was called The Family. It was more about the children in the cult. And the children in the cult, it's very sad, but they were taken from families from like illegal adoptions or like shady adoptions. But I just thought the way it was all put together, and especially because the cult leader is this woman who's just like fucking crazy, and I would have liked to know more about her personally instead of just how much people she controlled and how powerful she was. I wanted to know the nitty and the gritty, not stuff that I could look up, really easily on Wikipedia. But I was thinking, if you guys are interested, let me know down in the comments below. I might do a Real Faces of Horror on the lady who was the cult leader because she is lesser known, she is fucking crazy, and it's kind of Australian, British kind of story. So I thought that might be more interesting for some of you guys who want to know what's going on down under. So let me know down in the comments if you're interested in a Real Faces of Horror about the cult leader of The Family. So my favorite movies this month, without a doubt, The Love Witch and The Devil's Candy. Those are the best films I've probably seen this year. I would count The Love Witch as a horror, but it's not very horrific. But Devil's Candy is fucked up. So I would say they're both horror and they're both the best horrors I've seen this year, hands down. But I will go into more detail about that, so look out for that in the coming weeks. It's not that far off and I'm really excited to talk to you guys more about why they're so good. But with documentaries, I just have to say Beware the Slenderman was probably the best one I saw. As I said, I didn't really rate The Family. For TV shows, I watched 11/22/63. I think I got that right. It's the Stephen King story that has James Franco in it, and it's about this guy who kind of definitely time travels and tries to prevent the killing of JFK. I have mixed feelings about this. I thought it was really good at the start. I thought it was all like working really well, but then I kind of found some holes in it. And the fact that it's time travel and what actually happens in it is he finds like a black hole that he can get into, but he can also reset from the start. So when you think that he goes back to a certain year and then he can always just go back to that certain year and do a do-over whenever, kind of all of the stakes are lost and all of the tension is lost because anything that he happens to do or anything that goes wrong, he can do over. And so for me, I didn't really like that because I felt like there was no point in anything. If something happened, he could just fix it. And then also with that, I felt it wasn't really explained where the time jump was coming from, what happened with this like black hole or whatever the fuck it was. So since it wasn't explained, everything was up for grabs. Anything could happen. He could have another time traveler. He could go, forward in time. Like all these things could have popped up. I mean, a lot of them didn't, but all of these things could have popped up because there was no rules and there was no like understanding of why things were happening that way. I would have liked just a quick understanding or a quick reason to why things were happening, and because there was none, you felt like it was totally in a sci-fi world and anything could be possible. So once again, no restraints. Another thing I didn't like about the TV series is as it went on, it obviously becomes less about what his objective was and more about his love interest. And I'm alright with that to a degree, but when it becomes all about the love interest and the main plot line is kind of lost, I was like, I didn't sign on to watch like a love story. If I wanted to watch I watched fucking Vampire Diaries or something, I wouldn't, but if I did, so I felt like that was kind of wasted. I was in for like a sci-fi type drama and I felt like that was kind of sucked away from me. and it just didn't do it subtly enough or didn't make me care about the characters enough to make me satisfied that that was the final storyline. But the other TV show I watched this month, which I watched the whole season, I think there's only 4 episodes and is there 4? Yes. There's 4 and they're like 40 to an hour long. So it wasn't really hard to finish the whole series in one day, which is what I did. This is called Shadow of Truth, and it's actually an Israeli show. And it is kind of going along the lines of Making a Murderer. So if you liked Making a Murderer, fucking check this one out, you'll love it. And it's just involving a case. A person is held responsible and then it kind of shifts as it goes on. The one thing that I really liked about this show, but also didn't like, was how much it kind of persuades you to think a certain way, but it did that by not giving you all of the evidence up front. So of course you're gonna think this is meant to happen, and then, oh, this slips on its head. Oh no, that person's not like that at all, because you've given all the information then. So what I liked about Making a Murderer was more that that information was a bit slewed, and you kind of afterwards you're like, did he do it? Didn't he do it? But this one you're like, what is wrong with the justice system in this case is definitely cut and dry. So I didn't like being manipulated, but at the same time I thought it was really good, I guess, storytelling in a way. But every episode definitely flips and flops. So you're like, this person, no, this person. And you're just kind of going along for the ride. I totally would recommend it though, even though I think it's very biased. I think it's pretty cool. For podcast this month, I have to give it another shout out. I know I've already talked about this, but Sword and Scale has completely taken over my life at this point. I'll get up in the morning just to like walk and then listen to it. I drive to work listening to it. I sit at work, and if I have to do like a tedious task that I don't need to think about, I just have to click some things or fix a photo or something like that, I will just listen to it. Seriously, check out Sword on the Scale, it's amazing. And for my favorite YouTuber of the month, I haven't done this in a little while, I'm gonna talk to you guys about Llama Arts. So Llama Arts is quite a huge channel. I think it's like 300,000 subscribers over that. And one of you guys actually brought this to my attention. It's pretty much animations of creepypastas or creepy stories. I really recommend it, especially if you guys like creepypastas and kind of want something extra. Instead of reading them, you just want like, I don't know, just an extra aspect to it. Check out Llama Arts. And for my horror merchandise for the month, I want to tell you guys about Dellamorte and Co. I think that's how I say it. Actually, a Patreon brought this to my attention. Thank you so much, Keenan, for sharing this with us. He got this amazing Krampus mug that I'm so fucking jealous of. I was like, send me a video. I need to tell all you ghouls about this because it's fucking crazy. Look at that detail. I'm just really jealous and I love it. And it seems like such a goblet. How could you even drink a tea out of that? It's just so hardcore. But you guys should totally check out their Etsy. They have some really cool stuff on there. And before I wrap it up this month, I'm gonna give you guys a monthly mission. This one's quite easy. Maybe, hopefully. It should be easy, that's the point. So you guys know I watched the XX this month, or just XX, and I didn't really like it. But the cool thing about that film was it was directed by all females. And I think it'd be really cool if we left down in the comments some female directors that we really like, or some of our favorite horror movies that are directed by female directors. And mine for this is so fucking easy because it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. This is Pet Sematary, and it was directed by Mary Lambert. So if you guys have one that, especially if no one else mentions it, let's try and keep it all different horror movies. So name a horror movie directed by a female director, or name one of your favorite female directors. Let's just say any genre down below. And I hope you're all having a great day. Stay spooky, guys. Bye.